So for my sister, grew up singing together all our lives in church, and she's been traveling with Israel Houghton New Breed for years. I mean, 15 years. It didn't look like it was going to work out, but the Lord made room for it. And so when I invited her to come and record this song with me, I just felt like the Lord, like the grace was on her to, to do this song with me. And we never knew, we had, the song was written, we were singing it and kind of, going over it, getting it in our spirits, but never knew what God was going to do with it once we got to, the live night of worship, the live recording. Because we just didn't imagine that, as faith-filled believers, as we're crying out to God for him to turn the situation around with her daughter, we never imagined that God would answer our prayers, but it would look completely different from what we anticipated and what we expected. And I think I shared this before, but there's a scripture as worship leaders that we love, we hang on to, and we declare it over a room full of believers. But it's Psalm 34:1, and we say, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise will continually be in my mouth, but will we? And that was the question that we were faced with in real time, in real life. It was this tension between I trust you but will I praise you in spite of one of the most tragic and dark, struggles or scenarios you could ever imagine, the loss of a child. And so, we didn't know where the night was going to go when we got the news. It was almost like everything just came to a screeching halt. And understandably, my team and everyone's working really hard to get my sister on the first flight back home. But it was her husband, Pastor Brandon Clack, who, God bless him, because as he held his daughter, and his lifeless daughter's, she's already in the EMS, and they're, it's like this chaotic scene, and he's on FaceTime and he's telling his wife, my sister, he's encouraging her. She's weeping inconsolably, as anyone could understand, and as we were as well. And he's telling her, I don't want you to beat yourself up or feel guilty that you're not here. He said, I believe God has you exactly where you're supposed to be with your mom and with your sister, and you have family surrounding you. As he's speaking into her and he's encouraging her with tears in his eyes, and his eyes are bloodshot and his nose is bleeding. And you can tell clearly that he is just, broken. But even in that, he's encouraging his wife. He's, speaking life into her. And it was his next words, the very next words that he spoke as we're surrounding her and in the room, that gave us clarity, that gave us direction as to how to even move the rest of the night. And it was so wild, because his next words to her were, I believe God has you exactly where you're supposed to be. And then he looked at her and he said, and what greater offering. When he said those words, it was like he was saying something in that. He was saying, like, this is what we do. Like, for God I'll live, for God I'll die, and he gives and he takes away, but blessed be the name of the Lord. And so I want you to go out there and leave it all on the floor. And that's what he was, essentially telling his wife, like, you're on assignment. And to be able to put what you're walking through in real time, this tragedy, this devastation aside, and say, go give God everything. And so that is what kind of what underscored this song. And because it's such a blessing to even have this song, because I always say this is the night that almost never happened. Had Pastor Brandon Clack not spoken into his wife, not spoken into the moment, not gave clarity, direction as to how to even maneuver that night, we were all ready to go home. The band had, was shutting down, production was shutting down. And those very words are what shifted the direction for the rest of the night. And it's the reason we have this song today.